Xabi Alonso should choose Liverpool over Bayern Munich. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yes, today's video is going to centre around the Bayer Leverkusen manager known as Xabi Alonso, who seems to be the subject to a bit of a managerial tug-of-war at the end of the season between Bayern Munich and Liverpool, two former clubs of his. What we know right now is that both Jurgen Klopp of Liverpool and Thomas Tuchel of Bayern Munich are set to leave their respective clubs at the end of the season, meaning the search for a new manager at both clubs is underway, well underway, I would imagine, at both sets of clubs. Xabi Alonso is doing phenomenal at Bayer Leverkusen right now. He's highly rated, highly sought of, and has got a lot of potential behind him. And of course, with him playing for both of these two clubs, it's obvious that his name was going to be mentioned as potential successors to their respective managers as of right now. But where should he go? If he is to go to one of these two clubs, where will he go? Will he go to England to test his luck in the Premier League and go to Liverpool? Or will he go to Bayern Munich in what would be another case of Bayern Munich cherry-picking some of the best talent, whether it be coaches, managers or players, from their own league to strengthen their position at the top of the German tree? We're going to be talking about Xabi Alonso. We're going to be giving my opinion on why I think he should choose Liverpool over Bayern. We're going to be talking about this whole managerial situation in general. But before we go any further, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. And as well as that, please do get involved in the comment section. I'm sure you have your own thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. That will make for great interest in reading on this particular topic of where do you think Xabi Alonso may go. Maybe you think he may not even go to one of these two clubs. Maybe there's someone else waiting in the wings to pounce. Maybe that he will be looking to maybe go to the Real Madrid job, and maybe that's why he may stay on at Bayer Leverkusen for another year or two whilst Carlo Ancelotti's still there. Maybe there's someone else waiting, maybe like a Chelsea, for example, or someone else along those lines. I'm very intrigued to know what you think and feel on this whole Xabi Alonso situation. But without further ado, like I say, let's get on with the video. Let's talk Xabi Alonso. Let's talk my opinion on why he should choose Liverpool and everything else. Now, first and foremost, let me just say that I understand that I've been a firm advocate for Roberto De Zerbi to take over from Jurgen Klopp at the end of the season. But I've constantly said throughout, Xabi Alonso for me would be fantastic as well. Xabi Alonso for me would be a very good appointment if it wasn't to be De Zerbi. The more and more I think about it, the more and more that I read about it, the more and more that I see about it, the more and more I do my research about it and everything else in between, the more I am turning to Alonso. Not that I don't think De Zerbi's a bad manager, not that I don't think De Zerbi couldn't prove himself at a higher level, but just because I'm falling more and more in love with everything that Alonso is doing at Bayer Leverkusen. The way that obviously he's setting his side up, the flexibility, the adaptability, and not just in terms of what he does on the pitch, but in terms of how he carries himself off the pitch as well, the things that he's saying, the mentality, everything about this guy screams that he is going to be a top-level manager. Now, of course, he's not there yet. He's doing phenomenally with Bayer Leverkusen right now. They are on course to maybe win their first ever Bundesliga title. And what a phenomenal achievement that would be in itself, to win the Bundesliga title and break that Bayern Munich dominance that has been the stranglehold of German football for a number of years. That would be phenomenal in itself. Add on top of that the potential of going invincible. Xabi Alonso's side are still invincible this season on all competition fronts. They are still in the Europa League. They are still in the German domestic cup. And of course, they are unbeaten in the league this season. If they were to continue that, that would add icing on top of that particular cake. Add on top of that, maybe more pieces of silverware. A Europa League, a German cup. Like I say, I don't think necessarily that might be the case. I still think there's a long way to go, and obviously by laws of probability, the more silverware that you win, it becomes less and less likely you will obtain that silverware. But it's not to say it isn't out of the realms of possibility right now. I would say they are one of the strong favourites for the Europa League, barring maybe Liverpool themselves. And like I said, I think Bayern are already maybe knocked out of the German Cup, so I think they've got a good chance of winning that one. And they're 8 points clear at the top of the Bundesliga. That is phenomenal right now for this guy and this manager, who is still relatively young, still relatively a novice in the game, to be honest. Like, he may have learned from some of their best managers that he played under, the likes of, obviously, Rafa Benitez in his prime at Liverpool, and obviously he's worked under Pep Guardiola and Carlo Ancelotti and everything. So he's got a wealth of experience behind him from watching the best in the business do their thing. Whether it be through his playing days, or I'm sure he's kept ties and contact with them during his managerial days as well. Obviously taking charge of, I think it was Real Sociedad's B team or their youth squad, before obviously making the leap to a more senior level with Bayer Leverkusen. So he's got a bit of experience, but he's also still learning the trade and learning the game. But so far this season, he's been absolutely phenomenal. This guy has been incredible to watch in terms of how he sets his team up, his adaptability, his flexibility. It's brilliant to watch. It's absolutely brilliant to watch. And if you watch Bayer Leverkusen's games, very few games are similar in terms of the way that he sets up. And that comes into the adaptability thing that I talk about. This guy is good at identifying how to set his team up and how to make it so fluid that it's good, and it keeps the opposition guessing. And it's different to Pep Guardiola, because Guardiola basically has plan A, and plan B is basically to do plan A better. Jurgen Klopp, to an extent, is very similar. Many top managers seem to have this plan A mentality, and that's it. I've got plan A in mind, and I'm very rarely going to change that unless, of course, I am desperate. Alonso is not afraid to change it up. Alonso is not afraid to be fluid and flex between a back three to a back four to a back five, depending on how the situation presents itself. He's very good. It's exciting to watch. And like I say, he's only going to get better with age and experience. And that is something that I think is going to be a very good asset to have, whether you are Bayern Munich or whether you are Liverpool. Now, in terms of that conversation as to where I think he should go, for me, it's Liverpool. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Liverpool fan, but for me, I think it is going to be Liverpool, because although Bayern Munich would be a fantastic opportunity, I think although Bayern Munich would probably present an opportunity to win numerous Bundesliga titles at the very least for the next few years, with the possibility of maybe adding a Champions League along the way, depending on obviously how you run things, or how the board is running things, or what kind of players you bring in, or whatever. For me, it's Liverpool, because he's just got, as a person, he just seemingly has the charisma. He seemingly has the overall package, the way that he carries himself, the way he walks, the way he talks, everything about it that would really adore him to the Liverpool fan base. We saw it as a player. We adored him as a player. We loved him as a player. It was absolutely phenomenal to watch. When he was at Anfield, or for them few years that he was before obviously joining Real Madrid and everything. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant. And now as a manager, it seems right. I was a bit hesitant at first, because I felt the experience factor may come back and bite him. But I also now see it on the other side of things and think, well, Guardiola is not going to be there for the next few years. Mikel Arteta's hit and miss, I guess, a little bit. Chelsea are still very much trying to find their feet under the Todd Boehly method, and Todd Boehly trying to find his feet in the Premier League and with his new toy of Chelsea. Alonso could be the one thing that is a high profile and is maybe going to be consistent for years to come. So that's why I would be excited, and I have technically said I would be excited by Alonso's appointment at Liverpool. I was always going for De Zerbi, but the more and more that I see, the more and more I go for this guy, because of how well he carries himself, how well he does. And not only that as well, but there's less of a risk with Liverpool. Bayern Munich have this objective of winning the Bundesliga title every single year that is pretty much non-negotiable. It's like PSG in the French league. It's non-negotiable how you do in the Bundesliga. You either win it or it is a failure. And that's exactly what Thomas Tuchel is facing this season. Thomas Tuchel and his Bayern side are second. Now, if Liverpool finish second this season, we weren't expected to be in a title race. Not many people would probably put us in a title race. So, if that was to be the case, we finish second. It's seen as a pretty decent season. Okay, it's a bit annoying we didn't win it, but at the same time, we weren't expected to be in the title race in the first place. So, it actually is seen as a bit of an overachievement. Bayern finished second. It's seen as a failure. The only way you can caveat that is if you go on and win the Champions League. If you win the Champions League and miss out on the Bundesliga title by the odd point or two, maybe it could be seen as forgivable. But for the most part, you lose the Bundesliga title, you also flop in the Champions League, you're gone. And we haven't seen it much over the years because Bayern have had this dominance over the Bundesliga for a number of years now. But that's exactly what Thomas Tuchel was facing throughout this campaign so far. And that's why Alonso is probably on the verge of helping Leverkusen break that Bayern stranglehold on German football. Which would be, like I say, a phenomenal achievement in itself. Absolutely brilliant as far as what Bayer Leverkusen and Xabi Alonso are concerned. Both for the club and for the manager. And that's why... Like I say, I think he should choose Liverpool. There's less of a stranglehold. He'd have more power. He'd probably have a bit more say in how things are run at Liverpool than opposed to Bayern. He would obviously have more room for error. Obviously, no one wants error, but there is going to be error at a football club, whether it be error through player signings, error through performances, error through defeats, error through maybe not quite hitting season objectives, that kind of thing. There'll be more room for error at Liverpool than there would be for Bayern. I just don't see a world in which Bayern is the better choice here. Unless you are trying to guarantee yourself Bundesliga titles at the very least. He isn't going to be out of options, is he? He's going to have a good couple of options at the very least in terms of these two clubs if they are making him their top priority to succeed their respective managers at the end of the season. I 100% understand that. My issue is that for me, Liverpool, the way that the club is, the way that the club took to him, the way that he plays, the way that obviously he plays differently to Pep as well. I don't know how many years Pep's going to stay at Manchester City. I don't even know if Manchester City are going to be staying in the Premier League come the end of the season when, of course, that court hearing gets gets underway. But when you look at the past few managers across the past decade that have beaten Pep Guardiola to league titles, Jurgen Klopp, Antonio Conte, Jose Mourinho, they do not play Pep ball. They play their own brand. They play their own style. They play it their own way. Alonso is not Pep. Alonso does not play Pep ball. Alonso plays very differently, very uniquely, and it's not too dissimilar, I would say, from Jurgen Klopp. But at the same time, he's got his own twist on it, and he's got his own unique stamp on things. And like I say, he's more flexible, he's more fluid, he's more adaptable than what Klopp would be. So for me, I'm changing my opinion, and I'm saying I want Xabi Alonso at Liverpool. And I think for the reasons that I've stated in the video, when it comes down to leeway for error, when it comes down to how the fans will absolutely adore him, when it comes down to the power he will have at Liverpool over a Bayern Munich, when it comes to obviously building something incredible, I look at that Liverpool team and I think that Liverpool team is set up for the next 7, 8, 9 years. Barring obviously a few positions where Alonso can come in and go, you know what, I like this guy from the academy, let's bring him in. I don't quite like this guy in my team, maybe we can move him out. And then maybe we go, you know what, I like the guy over there. Let's bring him in for a big fee. Maybe go back to your own club. Maybe bring in like a Jeremy Frimpong or a Florian Wirtz, for example. Just saying. Just saying. Like I say, there's a lot to build upon for Alonso, and I think, like I say, I think he will enjoy the prospect of taking this Liverpool to a new level. I think he would enjoy the power aspect. I think he'd enjoy being back in front of the Kop again, being back at Anfield. I just see there being a lot more positives for Alonso at Liverpool than there are at Bayern Munich. Not to say that Bayern Munich is going to be would be a poor choice for him. I'm sure it would work out in some way, shape or form, or in some capacity. But I think to take that next step in his management, I think it's got to be Liverpool. And I'm hoping it is. I'm really hoping it is now. Like I say, I've always advocated for De Zerbi. I don't mind De Zerbi. I still think he's a great manager. I still think he's got a lot to offer. And I'm sure wherever he goes next, if it is a step up from Brighton, I'm sure it will be as successful. I'm sure it will be just as successful. Or just as successful as what I'm imagining it possibly being wherever he goes. But for me, like I say, if Alonso can keep this kind of form up till the end of the season, if Alonso can obviously add at least one trophy to his cabinet in terms of maybe the Bundesliga title, maybe even build upon that to the German Cup or the Europa League, it would be a phenomenal achievement by him and by Leverkusen, and something that should not ever be taken for granted and should not be completely overlooked. But like I say, if it does come to a managerial tug-of-war at the end of the season between Liverpool and Bayern, I think Alonso should choose Liverpool for those reasons that I've stated in this video. But those are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of this whole Xabi Alonso situation? Do you see him going to Bayern or Liverpool at the end of the season? Let me know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, down below. Maybe there's someone else, like I say, maybe waiting in the wings that may be looking set to pounce on this new high-profile and high-potential manager known as Xabi Alonso. Maybe like a Chelsea, for example, or maybe a Real Madrid or someone else along the way. I'll be interested to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, down below in the comment section. I'm sure it'll all make for interesting and great reading. Otherwise, hit the like button on the way if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new and want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks video. And I will see you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. I'll speak to you all again very, very soon.